Well, just to try and put something else on here a little bit, not really sure where or what to go with or how to really finish it here today. I was thinking over some governmental conspiracies. They seem to be always the funny thing out there. I mean, Fox News is putting on stuff about space, the final frontier, what really could happen, everything else. I mean, pure propaganda for Space Force and everything else, and maybe a little bit something more hidden around there. I just got to be honest with you and laugh a little. I mean, if it is at that time where we're going to have open debates, and yeah, they're starting with stuff back in the 50s and 20s and stuff like that. And I just got to tell you straight up, if space aliens were real and we had all this stuff with everybody and we went through all of it and we found all the stuff that we ever needed, we needed to do all of it. I think they would probably just run. I mean, they come down and see everybody, and it's like, wow, this is so cool. It's like a primitive society that's discovered nuclear technology or something else. There can be all sorts of things done with it and everything. We probably got on there and just started playing around with their stuff and crashed them into Venus, and that's what the biological contamination is down there in the clouds where they go, we think there could be microbial life. And it's like, yeah, it's whatever the last bit of cells are from everybody. Dark side of the moon, yeah, naturally the Nazis had a base there. Go over to Mars. Oops, we dropped something in it. Liquefied all the water because that's what the Nazis were trying to do with it. So there went all the canals and everything else that we were supposedly going to find from Ray Bradbury times and everything else. So, thought it would be a good space fuel. Who knew? Thank God it didn't hit Europa. Then moving on with everything and about how the space aliens came and, they reawoke the evil, whatever it is, cannibals are us society. And brought forth a bunch of technology, got everybody to do everything, and advanced everybody pretty quickly, and then they're like, oh, we shouldn't have left the door open. It's like that time when you didn't realize that you had your gun on that magnetic thing, and then they came, and you had like 3 of them in there, one in the back and everything else, left your coat in the door, and somehow it kept it from shutting, so somebody came over there and stole all your guns. You're like, oh, maybe that's where guns came from. They go, it could be better 1,000 years later. They got it all out of their system. And they came back around, and then they go out and they find out that it's like, then there was transmorphic people that could transform into like super people. People of like the werewolf and Superman in a way. But then we had like Sasquatch and a couple others that came out there and they helped us all defeat the Axis powers and everything else. So great, telling you the truth, honestly. But just in saying that, guess what really happened? They went out that door, went to wherever it was after everybody was done and said, I need to be able to travel instantly like Blink. And, whether you want to call them presidents or whatever it is, just universal leaders of somewhere out there. And, probably the only one who's going to save us is that guy from the movie Dictator. Honestly. Will be showing up there and trying to save everybody and be like, it really is kind of like rape when you go out there and you splice their DNA and you take it out and go, well, in order for them to live, I'm going to put a little bit of their DNA in them. And it's like how you think like people after they get like in their prime and all of a sudden they change into like the crappier versions of somebody you saw on somewhere, television, something else. Maybe they put their DNA into them and took the other and spliced it into them, or else just said, I don't ever want to use yours, but we know how to make the DNA sequences, and we now have synthetic DNA we can put in me. Don't worry. You'll always remember it was from me because it took out the bad stuff you weren't using for your own benefit because you're in the projects or somewhere else. I mean, imagine if they went to all these like little inbred, genetically isolated areas where certain things like this come up. Everybody's like, you mean where they're sucking applesauce through a straw? And it's like, shut up. I mean, honestly, they're just out there, and it's like, that's what really happened to Sasquatch, to Wolfman, and Superman. And then they all go, I wonder if I can get it to work like Escobar on Seven Deadly Sins. And then, I just don't have to have that sun thing like you got. Yeah. Hey, it's for the leadership and important people. Nobody else needs this but us. And anyway, I just go looking at it. Since the girls are basically in charge of here, I have to realize there's bad women in society. I mean, how else can a woman rape a man? I mean, the old way was just to cut their testicles off and squeeze it into their, whatever you want to call it, and be like, now I'll give birth to real people that can be raised properly from my nectar of my, whatever wet sack of milk jugs you just came out of the swimming pool and thought you were still that great. Anyway, I just want to say, I'm sure everybody's going to be like, do you have a publicist? Do you have this? It's probably like, no. Do you have a really good lawyer? I remember when I used to work out those 3 hours a day to 6 hours a day some days, and just picking up cans on the side of the road on a day off, because the gym was where you stayed at. You want to know what really screwed me up? Somebody got pissed at me for going and saying, I'm going to try to work out, have 3 types of workouts, then I'm going to do an hour and one of whatever I felt I didn't do good enough, and have 5 hours on my days off in the gym. And what I was going to do is go stretching, cardio, weights, reading a type of book or something that was going to be enriching to my brain, and then do whatever the next one was right after it. And then I was going to be my day off. I kid you not, I did that. I had never heard so much from jealous people saying that I thought that I was trying to be like them. And I'm just going, no offense, sandy-haired with glasses that's kind of a dick out there, because that's just a universal thing for you, like sticking yourself in my fucking society, since this ain't made for kids. How the fuck do you think I was ever trying to be like you? I must have brought myself down to your level. I'll tell you, if you say something about me, I'll find out about it, whether it's one way or another. Even if it was right when I was sitting there, and I'm just starting to get now annoyed. Revenge is never served cold. It's really whatever your body temp is. Put that one in a Godfather movie. But at the same time, I'm not threatening anybody with stuff, because quite frankly, whether you're dead, like I might be from a heart attack as big as I am nowadays, I'm sure someone's going to get revenge on me for my posterity or whatever it is. So whenever it comes up for that wonderful little thing, don't mess with people who like going to the gym. They don't beat you up and kill you. They just find a nice way to do something for politics reasons. Or else expose anything that your family might be working with over at a national laboratory area that may be getting gotten rid of because certain people don't really understand. You can't say people don't have the right to bear arms in society, or only one certain situation, because of everything. And then you also have to look at people saying that anything can be confiscated in a state of emergency. See, a state of emergency, the Fourth Amendment still applies and everything else. So you can't just take something out there. So once the state or local area disregards that completely in any form or fashion out there, since everything's basically controlled underneath the governor, that then said state does lose that then said ability to have a military research base in it. Same with anything that's a complete violation of the First Amendment, but it's pretty hard to get all 5 of them. But just in saying it, it's kind of dry humor irony for me looking at it going, people who graduated college, just because you can do drugs and don't ever have to be arrested doesn't mean you really know whatever you're doing. Even if someone went out there and, as it is, said, we live in a Christian society, so that means I can sacrifice anybody who's gone and gotten baptized or christened and anything else. And they were all my worthless family. But yet, you do tithe. So that means the same thing. Strange how that is in the Bible Belt. And then you realize that's why Blue Necks come back down here. I don't think people are looking at this one probably very funny. But anyway, I just look at it and be like, in this sick society out there in the world, people are probably doing that with everything. And one day they'll have a satellite that can actually do that and just replicate your cells pretty much and say, we're going to knock this part or that part off, because everybody loses so much of DNA just to static plastic particles running through their body. Anyway, have a great time. And remember, help them control you more. Always use plastic. Well, here's one for me for gotta do something.